is Nico Kleynhans. Nico, thank you so much for your time, sir.
Good morning to you and good morning to the listeners. I approached you with this particular theme because I get incensed when I see some of the fake stories that are doing the rounds, because some of these stories are designed to create fear. And there's one particular fake story that's really, I find, incredibly disturbing. And the issue is that Russia is about to default on 2 interest payments that they have to make. They need just over $100 million to make the interest payment, the first 2, and there are a total of 4 that have got to be made for the rest of this month. And last time Russia defaulted on an interest payment was in 1998. And as a result of them defaulting, a whole lot of countries around the world were profoundly affected. And South Africa was one of those countries. And those of you who can remember back that far will remember that the rate that the government had to pay, the interest the government had to pay on its debt, went up to 20%.
That's crazy.
And those of us who had home loans, our interest rate on the home loans went up to 25.5%. And as a result of that, thousands of homeowners lost their homes. They couldn't afford to pay that kind of interest. Now, what this fake story is suggesting is that history is going to repeat itself. And that is wrong. And I'm hoping to show you why that is wrong. So the background is Russia doesn't have the $117 million to pay the interest on this debt. They've got $650 billion, but that money has been frozen by the West. So they can't use it to settle their debt. In addition to that, they can't sell their oil. So they can't get money to pay that debt. Within Russia itself, they have increased the rate that they will pay their local citizens if the citizens are prepared to lend them money. And they've increased that rate to 20%. And we don't know how much money they're going to get in. But if they don't get enough, they will default. Russia does have some foreign exchange in the Chinese yuan, but we don't know how much. And they've got a small amount of money lying around in euro that is available to them. But we do not know whether it's going to be enough for them to make all 4 payments. It's likely it will be enough to make the first 2 payments, but not the other 2. So if Russia defaults, there will be impact for that country, and there's going to be impact for us as well. But we need to get some clarity. My feeling is that this fake story is doing the rounds because somebody is angry that the ANC government refuses to condemn Russia. And so they're wanting to make sure that as many of us locally get as angry as we need to be to force the government to be more realistic. Now, I'm one of those who thinks the government made a mistake. They should have condemned Russia. So let's get that right on the table. They made a mistake. They should have consulted us. And the excuses that they are giving are hypocritical, and it is not true. What they are saying, that's not how United Nations work. They should have condemned. But now, what is different? Why is it that I'm saying that we are not likely to be punished this time around to the extent that we would be punished in 1998? Now, the first thing, in 1998, South Africa had an inflation rate of 13%. Today, our inflation rate is 5.6%. That means our Treasury, our Department of Finance, our Reserve Bank, they've got tools which they can use today, which was not available to them in 1998. You cannot say because that happened then, the same is going to happen now. South Africa is not where today where we were then. The second thing we need to understand is that while we consider our government to be broken, and most of it is, that is not true of every government department. We have a world-class Reserve Bank. We have a world-class Treasury. They are not idiots. They have managed the economy differently. We have millions, hundreds of millions of dollars in foreign exchange currency, which we did not have in 1998. So if we suddenly need money, we don't have to go and make debt. We've got the reserves available today. We needn't do what we did in 1998. The other thing that's important is we have an extremely powerful currency. Every news bulletin, Larry reads out what the dollar-rand exchange rate is. Listen to those figures. You are now paying 13 rand something for a dollar. We were paying up to 16 at one point. The currency for buying foreign currency, it's much cheaper. If you're going to go on holiday in Europe, this is the time you should be buying your currency. So there are tools which are available that will protect us. We will be impacted if they default. We will be. But we are not the pariah we were in 1998. We've got tools, we've got mechanisms, and that is going to provide protection. So what we've got to learn as a country is we must stop believing only bad things about ourselves. We can't go through life doing that. Every time Eskom switches off, we write off ourselves as a country. Don't do that. There's something evil about believing that. I'm saying we are in a stronger position. We are better off right now. We should be celebrating what has changed since 1998.
That's so good. Thank you so much for highlighting that for us. We really appreciate it.